fucking unbelievable. You are a legend, and you've been first and last. You were on the season finale, and this is amazing to me that you're...
Well, you know, Akiva Goldsman,
yeah.
Him and I go way back, and we have a real personal relationship. And when I heard that he was like running the show and involved, and he pitched me the idea. He said, "Hey, how would you like to come on and do a thing on Discovery?" I said, "Akiva, I would do anything. I'd wash your car." But yet, as it worked out, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was wonderful, and the vibe was great. The only negative was it was getaway day.
Right.
These guys were all talking about like getting out of Toronto and going back to their lives, and you guys had PR stuff that you were doing, and it was a little like my experience with Austin Powers. The first time I worked on Austin Powers, I didn't meet anybody because they were packing their stuff to go to Vegas. So that happens a lot of times in the business, where you work with people, but it's not quite that same camaraderie.
Yeah. Yeah,
we are meeting for the first time right
now.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, obviously none of our characters that are acting. I mean,
yeah. So, guys, now you're back at Vegas Con. We are here, and now the season has aired. We have seen what has happened to your lives. Mary, you of course are, I think, probably running everything in Klingon Town.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm the Chancellor.
You are. Lorella, what do you think there's some, as Lorella, what do you think are some changes you'd like to implement immediately? Is it some decor? Are we going to flip everyone to white? This is going to be interesting.
Well, I will say, yes, I mean, it is a time of peace, and there's a certain aesthetic that comes with that. We're not at war, so I can tease that there is not only a Klingon aesthetic change, there's a Chancellor aesthetic that L'Rell gets to embody that I'm really thrilled about on a superficial level, but also on a thematic level. I think you're going to see that as she embraces her femininity, she's not a commander, she's not a soldier anymore. She is trying to embody this more female archetype as she embraces her power, and it's going to be fun.
Oh my God!
Whenever that drops.
Are you going? Are you talking like some Dura sister cleavage? What is happening?
I mean, we definitely saw some cleavage last year.
It's very true.
So are you going to be bone daddying down anybody or what? The Orion gentleman is available.
Jayne, so good to see you again. Admiral, you're Admiral Cornwell. You made it through the war. You were around to hand out medals. What can you tell us about, well, now that it's all done and now that you're back here, what can you tell us about the experience of being involved in a franchise this huge, where you're coming from? Because you have been acting, and I have seen you in so many things that I've loved growing up, and then you wind up like, out on a limb, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. It's one of my favorite movies growing up. So, when I see you in Star Trek, I was like, oh my God, this is great! But what is it like for you now to be in this massive franchise in a 9,000 seat?
It is so much fun. It was completely unexpected. So I had some catching up to do, and I still have some catching up to do. All of you could probably teach me a few things, but it was thrilling to be part of it and to play a woman who has power, but who was so multi-dimensional. We saw so many different sides of her. It was just thrilling to be part of it. And this is my first convention ever. So, look at all this. It's amazing. All of you are amazing.
Wow.
There are very few shows that elicit this sort of response. I mean, my experience, the Andy Griffith Show, there's a crowd of people that will just almost, they follow it, you know, it's like Star Trek. So to be a part of it, you should be very grateful.
I am deeply, deeply grateful.
And I just want to drop a fun fact. If you think Admiral Cornwell is badass and awesome, Jayne Brook, I think maybe surpasses her. Obviously, but she's currently getting her master's in theology. Just you know,
something to do.
And it's just brilliant, and obviously, you know, Cornwell forever. But I just this woman is incredible, and I'm so grateful that the show brought us together. She's just a friendship that I'm going to value.
So fun. Yeah, something great happened between, well, I love Mary, Cornwell and Laurel. We're just great together, so.
Kenneth, a question for you regarding your character's untimely.
Matt, it's good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
I feel like it's been forever.
You know, it's so nice to like kind of get to know you guys over at doing After Trek and having to fly you guys down to New York, and then we get to, you know, chat a little bit before and after. So it's so fun to like see you guys out of makeup all the time. So it's just for me personally, it's like, well, these guys, I see them all the time. It feels like it anyway.
I have to admit, I got a good giggle because when I was flying on Air Canada recently, I was scrolling through the movies.
Yeah.
And I selected this documentary called 1 Million or Year Million.
Oh, the Year 1 Million on National
Year 1
Geographic.
Million.
Sure.
I'm on episode 3. It's about the Metaverse 1.0, Metaverse 2.0, like VR world, downloading our brains. Up pops Matt, dropping knowledge and humor like you wouldn't believe.
In a National Geographic documentary that I forgot I had done. Like, it was one of those things that like you tape it, you sit in a room in New York and you tape for an hour and a half and they ask you about every subject they're going to cover. And I honest to God, because not only did it not pay anything, I just did it as a favor. And I was like, sure, it's National Geographic, I love it. I got a call from I got a text message from my cousin 6 months later with my picture on National Geographic, and I was like, what is that from? I had literally no recollection of it, and I believe in that Singularity episode, I just started talking about the Borg.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You were dropping knowledge. There's 3 takeaways that I got from that. 1, Lawrence Fishburne could narrate anything and make it sound cool.
Yes.
2, Matt is way smarter than I thought he was. And 3, the future is Star Trek.
That's absolutely correct. That is 100% correct. And that is just, as for me, as a fan growing up and as a kid watching the show, the joy that I got just from the idea that we could one day leave the planet and travel the stars is just something that I always have dreamed of. Because I would be the guy that if holodecks were real, all I would do is create the world that was outside the holodeck. I would be like, I'm not going to actually go onto the ship, I'll just stay in here.
Well, that's why I'm an actor.
Yeah, that's right. You get to
let me just say one thing here.
Yes, go.
Being on the original show and hearing about it from my dad, and there was a fellow named Joe Sargent who directed the episode, the first one I did of Star Trek, is that the actor's element, the stuff that Leonard invented, or the director told Leonard to do, that ended up becoming part of Spock's life. The business, yeah. It's like, what can't happen is the show becomes so much soap opera that it loses the human element. Well, why does that moment work? Well, it works because the actor made it work.
Yeah.
So, as the show evolves, they still have to let us have the ability to make it real.
Totally.
So, you know, I just think that that's really important, and it was nice that Akiva asked me to come back, and when I was thinking about it, you know, of course, there is a way that they want you to do it, but my experience is that, wait, they hired me to do it. Now, I'm not going to rewrite their dialogue, but I'm also not going to be a mimic for what the showrunner wants me to do. If they can hire somebody to do that. But what made the original special was that the actors brought their own humanity to the table, which is, I think, really important.
Totally. I think that humanity is sort of our window into that world. Just as viewers, you're watching and you're seeing the humanity bleed through in the performance, and then it becomes a believable situation.
In the year 2055, the human being is not going to think any differently than it thinks now or it thought back in the 50s. And, you know, those characters, the original Star Trek, those characters were real, you know, and listen, I just appreciated it from that end.
Yeah, totally. And I think part of what made the Star Trek as a whole, I think, unique was just the interactions between the characters, particularly Kirk, Spock, and McCoy in that in the original series. Their relationship sort of just set the groundwork for future casts, I think, to just sort of like have this interplay. Do you guys, when you're on set, do you guys think about these sort of like, oh my god, okay, so this, like you look at the call sheet and it's like, oh, okay, I have to beat up Jayne today.
True story. Well, I actually, it's a kind of perfect anecdote. The first time that we worked together, episode 8, we, Jayne and I were all on the same flight from LA to Toronto, and I obviously had already worked with Ken, and Ken had already worked with Jayne, and I was running late, and texting Ken, I'm like, okay, I made it, and he texts me and goes, the Admiral's behind you. And I was like,
but did I know that they were there? Because I'd only seen them.
Yeah, as Klingons. So I turn around and I go, Jayne? And she's like, yes. And I was like, I'm Mary, I'm Laurel. And she was like, oh! And you know, then we had like a nice little exchange. And we had recently received the script that morning. And so I had it, and I was on the plane and reading these incredible moments that our characters have in that episode, and being like, oh my god, trying to commit it to memory, just thinking about how exciting it's going to be to work with Jayne. The next day, we do the fight rehearsal for that fun little exchange we had there. So, and of course I'm there, and Jayne is just like kicking ass, and I'm like, yes, this lady is so cool. And then we were next to each other in the hotel, and we just like ran our scene a few times in the evening, and then prayed that it would be in our brains. And then that next day, we filmed all of our stuff, starting with that scream.
Well, the scream was funny because Mary came onto the set, and I don't remember the exact words, but it was sort of like, so the scream.
Yeah.
What are we going to do there? And I was like, we're just going to scream. We're going to, I mean, I said, we'll each have our deep, soulful reasons for having a scream that comes so deep from your gut and your soul. But that was funny. Yeah. That was one of the first things you said to me, like, what are we going to do with the scream? And I said, Mary, we're just going to do that scream.
Yeah.
Can you guys do that right now?
What is it? Yeah. What did I say?
How about we do it without sound? Can you guys just do it without sound?
Look, I think if you can get a scream out, we'll be welcome to hear it.
No, I have to stand up. I can't.
But I was sitting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's more like, it's kind of like this.
Okay, guys.
Like, but I like turned around and I was like, actually, I'm going to scream.
You know, we had a whole scene, like psychological scene, where I, the psychiatrist, could kind of suss her out, and I knew something was going on. But we didn't see a lot of that part. But yeah.
But we got to read it.
Listen, you're already standing up there. I think we'd like to see you do it.
So do we do a silent scream, or do we actually scream?
No, I think you have to scream. This is all Kenneth's fault.
Let me just
We should put these down then.
Yeah, let's see if we can project it across the thing.
Yeah.
Look, no, she's got the blocking right. She needs to have the right angle, okay?
I was like, the whole thing. It's so hard with the armor to like bend. So it was like this whole like, well, if you just move your body like that, then I said, scream. I love that Jayne was so like, we were really like, what is the depth of this, and of why she responds the way she does, like that it's this combination of fear but also strength. And certainly I think that that's the moment that I realized that I respect this human.
Yeah.
And also that the prop is jabbing into your ribcage.
Oh yeah, that
really hurt. People don't realize that in the world of science fiction, a lot of times people are wearing outfits that hurt.
Yes.
And the prosthetics, and there's always some, they call them makeup artists, I call them cosmetic enthusiasts, that they're dabbing in your face, like, I'm thinking here, I'm trying to work, and then there's some guy just messing with the thing. Yeah, that's uncomfortable. And especially if they put, like, teeth in your mouth. You know, like if you've got artificial teeth,
I mean,
and then they tell you to talk.
I can relate to that.
People here who can speak very. And actually, I wanted to ask that question of both of you. When you're getting a copy of the script and it's sent to you guys, is it English and then you get another copy that comes in with phonetic Klingon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the writers do not write it in Klingon. Not the prerequisite for being a writer in the writer's room, unfortunately.
Ted's pretty good, but...
But, you know...
Ted Sullivan, if anyone can speak it.
He's got the energy for it, for sure. Well, we get the English script, and then our translator, Rhea Nolan is our dialect coach, and so she doesn't speak it fluently, but she learned the sounds, you know, from Robin Stewart, who's our actual translator who speaks fluently and is part of the Klingon community, dresses up. And #1 female grammarian for Klingon in North America.
Wow.
But yeah, #1. Only the best for us.
Is there derogatory Klingon?
Oh yeah, Kuba.
Oh, good.
Whoa, there are families present.
I'll let you look that up. But yeah, she gets the translation, I mean, she gets the English, she translates it to Klingon, and it is amazing, we get these back translations that are...
Do you get it phonetically spelled out, or do you get it recorded for you to hear?
Both. We get, she records it fast, medium, or regular, medium, slow.
Yeah.
And then I have really found, now that I have a better sense of all the sounds, because the Klingon dictionary that you can purchase has the sounds correlated with the symbols. Like, I say like GH is different from a capital H. So it's like as opposed to a obviously, guys.
Right.
But so, you get that written out. So it's different from IPA, which is something International Phonetic Alphabet, which is something I studied. But I was so glad I had that because it transferred well. And then you get the example I use is a phrase that I said that was actually cut, but "B'charmech yemosh," which is to conquer, compromise.
Oh.
Well, I said that to Brook, but it was implied. They just didn't need to.
Yeah, but so like when you guys are little, it's like, Kenneth, you had long monologues in Klingon where you're talking to an organized group. Do you just, when you're acting and you're speaking in a phonetic language, is it like a bouncy ball in your head following the English of what you're saying? Like, is that how you're emoting?
Yes.
So it's the tick-robe symbol over each of the...
It is...
Honestly, it is like memorizing sequences of numbers. I really had to approach it that way. My kids and my wife would attest, my house, we'd wallpaper of Klingon all over the house, because I would print it up, I would retype it, I would print it up in big posters, and I would put it over the walls of my house, and for weeks I would just try to memorize symbol by symbol, and over time you just kind of build up the scene. And it would take me about 2 weeks working 8 hours a day to memorize 2 scenes.
Wow. I mean, it's very impressive.
And then they would cut the scene.
That's fun, is when you work for 2 or 3 days to learn a speech and it's not in the episode.
That is, because that's the thing that struck me the most about the usage of Klingons in Discovery, was just how fleshed out and drawn out the language was and the use of it. And the fact that, like, there's an option on CBS All Access if you're watching it, you can choose Klingon subtitles for the entire show.
For the English. You can get the Klingon subtitles for the English.
Wait, you mean so if you didn't know English but knew Klingon, you could understand the episode?
Yeah, it's...
Oh, that's a well-used app.
Look! I'm not gonna lie, I've turned it on.
Well, it's cool to see the...
I just give it a go, see what it's doing. I'm like, oh, that's that slanty letter. I don't know. All right, I think we can run it up to audience questions right now. See, yesterday I forgot completely that there were audience questions.
Oh no!
And I felt horrible because I'm not used to having other people to ask questions.
This is not After Track.
It's not After Track.
After Track, yeah.
It's not After Trek, guys, so quite frankly, you don't have to be annoyed by me. All right, let's start on the left right now, which would be stage right.
Hi, this question is for Ken. We have so many great actors who have played so many different parts on Star Trek. Can we get you back as a different alien every season?
Oh, you're once a season for Clint.
First of all, whoa. I like gainful employment. And if they're willing to ask for my social security number with the intent of paying me a check, I don't care. I'll play, you know, a rugrat. I think that's good. What about you?
I have slightly higher standards and opinion.
You do. You're eminent.
Yeah, Kenneth, you're wasted in this makeup, but will we ever see you maybe again outside of the said makeup? You're just a tall, handsome man who should be running around in a Starfleet uniform.
Thank you very much, man.
You're very welcome.
To answer your question is, A, I would love to come back, and B, let's all stomp our feet because I'm going to tell you the answer, okay? Are you ready? Like Klingons, like, let's go, everyone stop your feet. Am I coming back?
Will Kenneth be back?
What are we doing?
Oh, he's gonna, yeah! Well done.
John Picard is back, and Kenneth Mitchell is back, ladies and gentlemen.
You wish to meet your death as your captain did. I admire your loyalty, and I accept your challenge, humans.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's what we're here for. Thank you so much for that question. Sir, how are you?
Hey there, Jayne, I have a question for you. I'd like to know, you work with Jason. How are those scenes to work with him? Because he's a consummate actor.
It was great. I worked with Jason first when I did, when I went on Discovery, and it was an interesting relationship, wasn't it? We all know now why. I did know, I think, when I started, but yeah, Jason was great to work with. He was great to work with.
You did know that? You did know that?
I think, you know, it's so hard to remember exactly, but I think I did know.
I'm like so naive.
But you know, but you're playing the scene, so you just leave it out of your head and play the scene. He was the man that I had known for years, and who I was so deeply fond of, and you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the greatest thing about Jason is he is so passionate and dedicated to what he does, and I think that comes through, through his performance.
Did you know that when you got the script, when you were doing that, or how did you find that out as you were doing it?
Find out about Jason's reality. I hope there's nobody here. I'm trying to be very
spoiler alert, guys.
Apparently somebody yesterday hadn't watched them the whole first season, but I think that they had talked to me about it. Yeah. So I won't spoil it. Yeah, I think they had talked to me about it, but I just like put it in a different compartment in my head.
Yeah.
And just played it as, you know, the real.
Like he was a real just forgetful jerk.
The real. And wondering why, you know, he was acting.
Yeah.
How sexy were those scenes? I mean, Jayne Brook, like, come on.
Look, I love this. And I also enjoyed the fact that he slept with a phaser under his pillow, which is exactly James Bond sleeps. James Bond sleeps with a gun under his pillow, and I think Jason Isaacs should have gotten a go. It'd be a hell of a James Bond.
That made me mad though.
Okay, next question, sir.
Hello, my question is for everyone. And I noticed that Robert Duncan McNeill of Star Trek Voyager fame, he was meeting with the producers to direct, potentially, for season 2. But he said he might not get the chance because Discovery is prioritizing hiring directors that are women or diversity. And I was just wondering, from your standpoint as actors, if you've noticed that at all, that Discovery has that priority.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think diversity takes a lot of different forms, and we're trying to embody all of them. You know, it's not, I think there's just room for every sort of inclusion and diversity. And actually, I was on the Women in Star Trek panel earlier this week, and Eliza Pearl was saying that, you know, it's not just about the visual diversity, or just like having someone in the room. It's about listening to them and about hearing their perspective, and that is what I think we really embody, and that comes from Sonequa all the way around to everyone behind the scenes. And I am really proud about what we've done with that and what we're continuing to do, and I think, yeah, making that a priority as we move forward is something I'm really proud of.
But I'm not sure that we as actors, when we arrive on the set and we meet the director, we just go, oh, cool, you know, that's the director, and then they direct us. I don't think we really put in our mind, oh, you know, that's an African-American director, that's a, you know, a white man, there's a woman.
Well, yeah, I think
and we're not part of the decision process on the directors, but yeah, I think they are, John.
You would hope television works so fast that when you meet the director, you just pray that he's good.
Yeah.
Because there's really no chance to stop and reboot. I mean, it's once you start doing an episode, you got to realize with television, any kind of medium now, we are shooting at the speed of light.
Yeah.
And you know, so the fact is that the trust that you need to put into the hands of the director. Listen, he's the guy running the thing, and if he gives us a no, we better take it, because he's the guy in charge or the girl in charge.
Yeah.
And you just hope that there's a quality that will end up making us look good, because the fact is we're the ones that are up there.
Yeah. And I think it's important too to realize that just, you know, I think that seems to be a thing that's going on currently. I think there is a push for diversity in the director spot in television, and I think that it's an excellent thing. I think it's a perspective that we need. It's sorely been lacking, and I think us white dudes have had a long time of being prioritized. So I think there's room for everybody, as the Bridge of the Enterprise told us many years ago. Thank you very well. Hello, welcome back. Your question was great last time. What is it?
Thanks. It's pretty much the same question this time.
I loved it, and I'd like to hear theirs. Just go ahead.
For new actors, so whether your experience with the franchise has been only for a season so far, well, coming next season, or on and off for 50 years, you guys all have a unique perspective and experience with the Star Trek franchise. So I'm just curious, what's been the most valuable lesson you've learned so far?
That's a good question. What have you guys learned by taking part in this massive franchise, this freight train that's moving at warp 9.75 without you or with you?
Something that comes to mind is just following the love, embracing this entity. You guys are so infectious, and this whole family is just amazing, and I'm just along for the ride. I feel like a little small part of it, but and I'm giving it my all. I don't want to fail anyone, and I just want to keep being passionate as passion comes to me, and so that's just something that came to my mind when you asked that question.
The power of you guys. Because the producers can have an idea and the actors can have an idea, but the fact is over time, you guys, I remember the letter writing campaign. And I remember the various incarnations, and then when the decision was made of let's not just hassle with network television, let's move on. You guys drove that. And never before had I really been involved with anything where it was like, geez, they're listening to the fans. And that's what I've learned, because since I was a little kid, I mean, George Lucas, the first thing he said to me, I was at an audition, and I was auditioning for a role as an adult, and he looked at me and went, Commander Baylock, Corbinite maneuver. And I thought, Jesus, George, get a life. I guess he did have a life.
Yeah.
But listen, the ideas are wonderful that Star Trek is cultivating. But you guys are the ones that support it.
Yeah.
So, and you guys have helped shape it. Listen, they haven't shaped it. They're listening to you, so keep your voices really strong.
Yeah, and honestly, Clint's point there, it speaks to you guys that CBS is now exploring this, like, franchise in a way that they're producing now the second season of Discovery, and also, like, this thing with Patrick Stewart would never have happened if it wasn't for all of us shuffling off to Vegas each year going, please, we'll take it. Give us the content. We need to see more space adventures. Thank you very much for your question. Hello, how are you, sir? What is your question?
I'm fine. This question is for the Klingon actors. We have 51 years of Klingon backstory and characters and interpretations. What was the process behind creating like a different voice and attitude for Klingons versus what we'd seen before?
Well, once I was cast in the role, I was like, I want to watch every episode ever, and then I was like, oh, okay, how can I at least streamline this a little bit? And I went and I found the comprehensive list of all the Klingon-centric featured episodes, including holograms, anything that had any Klingon in it. There's a list online on the Wiki page. So I just started chronologically, so with Enterprise and then all the way through. I had seen the iterations before that point, but this was, you know, how I started on my quest. And even though most of those series take place after Discovery, it was so great, you know, and particularly with Worf and Deep Space Nine, really getting to see a lot of that cultural background. And I was actually saying earlier in another thing, just how I think our huge goal was to ingest that and let it manifest on an even deeper level and find what that culture was, and their belief system is so strong, and that they are truly alien and have a different perspective that is valid, and yeah.
But as far as the voice, for me, I saw the prosthetics. Cole had this thick neck, giant jaw, and I thought, I can't just sound like this, like, hey, Laurel, can I have your ship? Laurel, please. Folk.
Hey, we're gonna kill all the humans!
Hey, Folk, come on, give me your ship. Laurel, Folk, I think that I will take that ship now. So I just felt like I had to change it somehow. I had to bring it down, and then also the teeth arrived. You put the teeth in, and it just my teeth literally arrived on my doorstep. I opened up my door, and there was a box, and I opened up the box, and it said Kenneth Mitchell Klingon teeth. And I picked up the box and I put them in my mouth, and all of a sudden it's not this anymore. It's different. It's
So great.
It's terrifying because it like reverberates and echoes through the hall.
Right. I will say, I've told this story before, but the first time, for episode 4 was the first time that I interacted with Ken, with Cole. And I remember we were over at Shazad's apartment, the three of us, and we just were trying to run through it. That episode was entirely Klingon. And Ken, looking like himself, just drops into this voice. And I remember like, oh, that's Cole. Okay, great. But it was awesome because I felt that there was a distinction between all of the Klingon characters, and certainly, with Laurel finding something that echoed what I'd heard female Klingons have in the past, but really finding what that dialect, I worked with Rhea, the dialect coach, with finding sounds that existed in the Klingon tongue that would transfer in a certain way. And so it was really fun to find that we all got to find our own, and we're all from different houses and paths, so it, you know.
So what about looping? Did you guys have any problems with a lot of looping?
Yes, I ADR'd 98% of my lines.
Wow.
Explain. Yeah, ADR. So that's when they go, you get a call, and they say, hey, we need you to loop for episode 8 or whatever, and you go
after you've worked for like 14 hours on some other episode.
Yeah. And yeah, no, you go in, but they, you know, and our sound editing team is nominated for an Emmy. And I was so thrilled to see that, because I will say John Mead is the head and their entire team. Every time you go in, with me, it's like obviously most of my scenes are like pretty intense emotionally or physically or all of the above. And so I have to get in this place, like I come in with my yoga pants and like my workout clothes, and I take my shoes off, and I'm like, they have like a stress bar, if you need, like episode 12 when I'm sobbing over Tyler, I had to completely re-record that. So I'm like in there going, okay guys, I'm just gonna, like, you know, or whatever.
What was that? What was it just that you threw the teeth in? What, do you put the teeth back on to do the ADR?
No, you don't. No. You don't do that. Well, what serves, what at least served for me was that the dialect and the accent, and I just warm up a lower register of my voice, that you don't feel like you're not hearing the teeth when I'm doing without the teeth. The big thing is that, and particularly with the more intimate scenes, I had to ADR more because you can hear the prosthetic a little bit. You know, like the ones where we're speaking in Klingon or giving commands, those are the ones that you don't usually have to re-record, but it's when it's just a little bit more quiet.
And you know, something I gave you guys credit for on After Trek, but I just wanted to say it again here. The way that you both, when you spoke English on the show, you were doing so with a Klingon accent. So you just sort of like, did the realism, yes. I mean, honestly, it's amazing. Like, because you guys had to sit there and sort of think, like, okay, now as a Klingon, how would I speak?
Yeah, and it really, as Ken was saying, the visual, you know, representation. You look in the mirror, and it has to be, you know, something other, and it really, just everything about the transformation just helps you feel centered in the character. It's a lot of challenging stuff, but if I didn't have all those components, I don't, you know, that creature would make sense.
Was it similar for you, Jayne? Like when you zip up a Admiral's uniform, did you go like, all right?
I better talk. Well, I don't know, my voice is already deep. I don't have to do anything. I'm amazed at what they do. I'm amazed.
They do. It's like acting upon acting. It's like somersaulting around you while you're acting.
Mine's more that I have to try to make sure that I have a presence that's believable as the Admiral. I have to walk, and sometimes, you know, you're sort of relaxed and you walk into the room and you realize, I am so not being, you know, I have to embody. So I have to try to think of the physical.
You should just always walk into a room thinking I can take command of this vessel anytime I want. So if things aren't going right, I have the ultimate thing. Thank you for your question, sir. Hello, what is your question?
Hi. Hello, Mary, Jayne, Kenneth, and Clint.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for coming. This is really a pleasure. I mean, it's really a treat. I'm having so much fun. Thank you all for coming out, and I hope this won't be your last. I hope you'll visit us. And Clint, I have a question for you. I feel like...
Over here, Clint. I know, you're looking at the light. They're both lit up.
She's standing there by the microphone.
Right here.
I don't have good glasses anymore.
It's okay. We'll be your glasses, Clint.
Clint, thank you for always showing up, you know, for us Star Trek fans. And I have a feeling after that speech you just gave that you're actually one of us. You're a huge Star Trek fan. Not only do you act in the shows, that you're also a fan. Is that true?
I respect the show. And listen, I've been watching entertainment and being entertained by ideas for a long time. I really admire Gene Roddenberry and what he did.
Yes.
You know, he was a showrunner for a Western the year before Star Trek came out. So, you know, he knew about story. These were universal ideas. Now, it morphed into a science fiction futuristic thing, and I think Gene always had that in his mind. But there is a skill to storytelling, you know, and I appreciated it. I like the silly episodes of the original Star Trek. I like the silly episodes of Bonanza, when things got goofy with Hop Sing. You know, so it's the appreciation listen, do we know what's going to happen in the future? We all have dreams. We don't know.
I do.
You do?
You watch the
Are the Pirates going to win tonight?
Kenneth, if that's true, get your ass in the sports book.
Yeah. I just feel like that it's there. That the stories and the journey for the crews and the vessels and the eras which the show happens in. It all started from one idea, which was a really interesting thing. These guys on a ship, and they were buddies. You know, the dock, and it was just, it worked then, and it can continue to work. And as long as it's good stories, and that's what I appreciated on the show.
Yes. It became more than wagon train in space. I think we have time for one more question, and then I have a little announcement.
So there's some awesome, I mean, you were just talking about it, storytelling in all of Star Trek, and I was really impressed with Discovery. I love it. I was wondering if you guys had any favorite sci-fi authors?
Are you guys readers? Do you guys dive deep into the Asimovs of the world? Because if not, quite frankly, I can give a list.
I would love to hear your list. My favorite's Ray Bradbury, personally.
There you go.
Oh! Well, yeah.
Jules Verne was pretty good.
Jules Verne's great. Jules Verne, Ray Bradbury, Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke. You guys will follow me after the panel, and I will give you my Audible list of recommendations.
Thank you.
Also, use the promo code EXCELLENT. Anyway, that is it's for my wife's podcast. Anyway, okay, guys. I am going to, if you follow the Star Trek Instagram handle, you might have seen this announcement earlier, but guess what, everybody? The CBS game show Let's Make a Deal is teaming up with Star Trek for a very special episode. That's right, guys. The Star Trek special is going to shoot September 8th in Los Angeles. This is one of Let's Make a Deal's big specials of the year, so they're going to have the giant cash prizes, and there's going to be very unique Star Trek experiences and very special surprises, guys. So you're not going to want to miss this. You can dress in your favorite Star Trek gear, head on down to, I believe they shoot it at Sunset Gower, I believe is where they shoot that, but don't take my word for it, it'll be on the website. Dress your favorite Trek gear for your chance to win big, and for tickets, guys, you're knowing about this first, so you have a chance to hop on the website first and get the tickets early. Go to cbs.com/tickets and check out Let's Make a Deal's Facebook page for more info. The tickets are limited, but your chances of winning if you get in there are great. Follow up to that, we're going to make it even better, guys. You could win a trip for 2 to Los Angeles and the taping of Let's Make a Deal. I love this host stuff. This is really a lot of fun. Would you like to win a contest, guys? Would you like? Yes, okay. There is a sweepstakes that is running. It is, go to at CBS All Access or at Star Trek CBS on Instagram and tag a friend in the post. That's all you have to do, guys. You just tag a friend in your Instagram post and you will be entered. All you have to do is get it in before August 13th, 2018. So, you're out there on the floor, take a picture of your buddy in a fun uniform, tag at CBS All Access and at Star Trek CBS before Monday, August 13th, 2018, and you could be making a deal, Star Trek style. It's gonna be good, guys, come on. I know we're all on YouTube watching those old videos of the Weakest Link Star Trek episode, remember that? That was a good time. Oh, check it out, if you're on YouTube, it's gonna be a hoot. Anyway, so this is sure to be just as enjoyable for fans to watch over and over again. Now, guys, I feel that our time, sadly,
Thank you.
has, whoa.
Oh, and good night.
I'm having a stroke. I'm having a stroke. Am I crazy or not? Is it, what time are we running until? Now, thank you.
I guess so.
Guys, let's hear it for our wonderful panel.